Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. Don't have a whole lot, don't have really anything for show and tell today. Just a few thoughts and comments and things like that. And I'm looking for my outline here that disappeared off my screen. Hey, first of all, I keep meaning to mention this or ask this the last several weeks. I keep forgetting. Itchy Boots. Has anybody heard anything out of her lately? I haven't heard anything. Of course, I only pay attention to YouTube. I don't get off on her other social media platforms or anything like that. But I'm just curious if anybody knew the status of her, if she's going to be coming back or making any more videos. If you know anything about that, be sure to put it in the comments. I'm just curious. Last Friday night, I forgot to tell you yesterday that we were at the jam with Cash, and Cash did a really nice job. So far, some of you already know that he was in that national competition down in Georgia, and he got third place down there, and it's a youth competition. Well, he also entered the competition of the Phelps County Fair here in Phelps County, Missouri. And he won that competition in the youth division. So he's doing really good. He did really fine Friday night. And for those of you who may not know who Cash is, he was my most recent student that I was teaching one-on-one. And while we're talking about teaching, well, we'll try to do some Thursday night video. We'll try to do a Thursday night mandolin lesson. So I'm pretty sure I won't forget it this time, but there's no guarantees on anything, just so you understand. Yesterday, after the vlog, I was going to go back down there and work on that A-frame some more. Well, I actually had that in mind, and I actually went out there, but Sue said I needed to go look at the Waterwheel mill house first. She said that the tarp I had put over it looked like it had pulled inside and it wasn't doing its job. And I thought, well, all right, I'll go up there. Well, sure enough. And I really thought I had it fixed where it wouldn't trap water, because I put a pole up in the middle so that it was like a tent and would shed the water. Well, it collected a giant thing of water. And I mean, it was giant. It was probably 20 gallons of water at least. And it was hanging. So I tried to push that over the side, and of course it literally just soaked me. I mean, every bit that could hit me. I was completely soaked. And shoes, everything. I was just, so after so then I just went ahead and didn't care, and I just pushed it on out and just got even more soaked. And anyway, I got that all dried off, and I redid the tarp a little differently. Hopefully it'll be better this next time. And I hope it's working right now, because there was a major thunderstorm moving through just as we were going live. You could hear the thunder and everything. And when you can hear it in this room, you're doing good, because this is a room that's surrounded by other rooms. There's no outside wall on this room. And even including the roof. There's a roof over this building, and then there's another roof over that. So when you can hear thunder in this room, it's loud thunder, and I could hear it. So anyway, and if I look out this side window, there's, like this window here I have in my room, and then there's another window on like 15 or 20 feet that way further that I can see out onto the front, and it does look like it's raining. So anyway, pretty good storm going on. So I'm hoping that tarp I put on the Waterwheel house will do its job a little better, because that one didn't help at all, the last one. What a pain. Speaking of that, like after that, I was so soaked and I was just frustrated and aggravated. I just came back in the house, got cleaned up, and I didn't go back down there to work on the A-frame after that. But Bo, one of our faithful viewers and commenters, he may even be on here today. I don't know. I'm not sure he watches in the afternoon like he did in the mornings. But anyway, he sent me a text and said that he thought maybe I should use a chainsaw on that. Well, I actually had already tried that. On working on these timber frame A-frames, I had used a chainsaw, I had used a Sawzall, I'd used the regular skill saw, and used a grinder, and I'm trying to think of what all I did. Use chisels, of course, and I used a bunch of different tools on it. And the bottom line is I went ahead and ordered one of those 10-inch saws so that I can just cut the slots a lot more accurately with that. I mean, I could do it with a chainsaw. I could do the whole thing with a chainsaw and not use anything but a chainsaw. But it just wouldn't be up to the standard I'm looking for. I'm trying to do a little more precise work than that. And you can do pretty precise work with a chainsaw, don't get me wrong, but it's just also the other thing that I noticed right away when I was using the chainsaw, this cedar is kind of brittle, actually, and anything that catches on the edge of the cedar will knock a big chip off. And that was the other problem with using the chainsaw on it, was even though you could saw very precisely, it would still knock a great big chip off the edge of the cedar, and that didn't look too good. So that was the main reason I quit using the chainsaw, actually. Since we spoke yesterday, a new tool came in, a arc welder. It's called an arc captain, A-R-C, and then the word captain, and welder. And it's a really cool welder. I really thought it was going to be kind of hokey. I got to be honest. I thought it was, because it's like this big. It's like the size of a bread box. It's really small. It's about that big. And it's a 120 or 110, whatever you want to call it, volt welder. And it's wire feed. It's a scratch start TIG or a lift TIG, as some people call it. And it's also an arc. Well, I said it's an arc welder, a lift TIG, and it's also a wire feed welder. So it's 3 welders in one in this little tiny box. It's a little inverter welder. I think it only goes up to 145 amps or something like that. Well, I set it on 135 today, and I was working on a broken trailer hitch. And I thought, well, welding this piece back probably isn't a good idea to begin with. I mean, let me just say it right up front. I don't recommend anybody try to fix a trailer hitch. You should just replace it, or at least buy factory parts to replace it. You shouldn't try to, rig it. But this trailer specifically is a small trailer, number one. Number two, it's only used here on the farm. We don't take it on the road. It's not even licensed for the road, so we don't take it anywhere else. So fixing a trailer hitch in this particular instance is not a big deal. So anyway, that's what I did. Part of it had broken, so I thought, well, since that welder came in yesterday, it's the perfect time to try it out. So I got it out of the box, welded up, and I was just floored how well that little tiny thing welds. I mean, I'm seriously telling you, things smaller than it's about the size of a shoebox, of an adult man's shoebox. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I couldn't believe how well it welded. So I can't wait to show you that. And by the way, if it seems to be reasonably priced too. So if you're in the market for a welder, at least wait till this video comes out before you buy one, because I'm not kidding you. You can plug this thing in anywhere and weld with it. I mean, you could plug it in your kitchen and weld with it if you wanted to. I mean, you can plug it in anywhere. It's amazing. I haven't tested the arc welding yet, and I haven't tested the TIG welding, so I'm going to do that before I put out a video on it. But right now, I'm really impressed because it did a great job welding this trailer hitch back. I also have a VVOR impact socket kit that I need to review. I tried to do some of the video on that today. Also on the trailer hitch. I'm trying to keep them separate, and you might see the same fix in 2 different videos. But anyway, I tried to do some of that impact socket video today, and then I haven't yet started with the Gloofy laser cutter. It's G-L-U-W-P-H-Y, a Gloofy laser cutter. It's a 20-watt laser cutter. It's all contained all in one. It's it's got a hard shell around it and everything. It's a pretty cool laser cutter. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet, so I don't really know anything about it. I can't say if it's good or bad or indifferent yet. And then the last thing, in addition to those things that I need to get on, I need to get a package shipped out for Mateo yet today. So as soon as we're done here, that's the first thing I'm going to do is go down there and get that package all boxed up and get it ready to be shipped for him. Mateo is he was our Italian exchange student, if you don't know, and he has a company in Italy, and I'm kind of his distributor here in the U.S. for the things that he sells. And he doesn't do big business in the United States. He does it pretty much all over the world. He does business in China and Japan and pretty much everywhere, all the different European countries. And, he just doesn't do that much business in the U.S., and that's kind of a good thing because I really don't want to do it all for him anyway. But anyway, that's everything I was going to tell you today. So if anybody knows anything on Itchy Boots, be sure to put it in the comments. Looks like Joe Nigan was the first one to check in. James Copy says, my son has a stage performance hall permanently set up with a baby grand and other instruments. I hope we can find time to do open mics with bluegrass, folk, Celtic, etc. Well, that's down in Texas, I know. I don't know just where exactly. Let's see. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. And her son, she's looking for prayers for her grandson. It's going to be October 2nd and 3rd, it looks like. So, yeah, you can bet I'm praying for you there. I hope everything goes really well. Let's see. Moving on down, looking for question marks. Rod Wintler, just curious, Jerry, how are the A-frame roof timbers linked together at the ridge? There's a wooden dowel going through that. First of all, I have them, I don't know what you call it, mortise and tenon, so they go together at the point like, kind of like that. They go together like that up there, and then there's a pin through all that, a big wooden pin about 1 inch diameter. And then they're going to be pinned together at that crossbar down below too, and then there'll be a notch cut out of the ends where it sits right on top of the wall. So it'll be pretty sturdy. Plus I'm going to be planking all the way across all of them. And my brother also mentioned something when I was talking to him at the funeral. I mentioned to you that he gave me some ideas for the roof. He also suggested that instead of putting 3/4 planking across it, that I put 2x planking across it. And I first thought, well, that's overkill. Why would I want to do that? Because you don't really need it for the strength. And he said, well, yeah, but your nails will go, you'll see your nails on the inside when you do your roof. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. So now, I have two options. I can still use the 3/4 planking that I had thought of, because I got quite a bit of that, and then put plywood over the top of that so that the nails don't go through all the way where you see them on the inside, when you're doing the roofing nails. So I don't know. I got to think about that. There's another there's a lot to all this. There's a lot more than meets the eye. And it's a good thing my brother's a carpenter. He caught me up on a lot of those things, because I'm not totally unaware of those things. I just don't think about them, not being a carpenter. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, moving on down. Let's see. Dottie was the first one to comment after we went live, and then Bill Mumbo and Ronald Todd says, no itchy boots yet. Bill Mumbo, recovering and planning, Jerry. That's what she's doing, I guess. Jeff Pure says, itchy boots is still healing from her injuries, lung and foot healing slowly. Okay, I hadn't heard anything more about it. I knew she was having trouble, but I also heard she was doing pretty well after all that too. I have a new invention, Wavy Gravy says. It's sort of like a dehumidifier. It's called the room destupifier. It sucked all the stupidity out of the room. It's really good for political conventions. Man, you'd have to change the filter about every 20 seconds at a political convention. Donald Matthews, Itchy Boots is working her lungs on Facebook today. Okay. Rubbish Guitar Bloke, getting soaked would have been a great video. Yeah, it really would have been a great video if you'd have seen what happened. I thought when I pushed it up, it was going to fall over the outside wall. It didn't. It all fell on the inside wall and then bounced back because I've got those cross braces in the wall, and it hit those cross braces and then went straight at me, and it just literally soaked me. I mean, yeah, there was at least 20 gallons. I mean, yeah. Trying to think, is that true or is that maybe more? For sure 10 gallons. For sure 10 gallons. Absolutely. I mean, it was like 2 5-gallon buckets at least came down on me. I don't know if 20 gallons, but it's for sure 10. It was a lot of water. Gary Hayden, Jerry, we have some common musical interests, namely country and bluegrass. Did you ever play or have desire to play electrical instruments? Well, I mean, my very first guitar was an electric guitar. I still have it, but I never did. Honestly, at that time I was really little, and I never did really learn to play it well. I mean, I could play 3 chords on it, that kind of thing. It wasn't really till I was like 28 that I decided I was going to get serious about playing music, and I decided I was going to play bluegrass, and the first instrument I went to was the mandolin. Well, actually, the first instrument I went to was the fiddle, and after 6 months of every day, 2 hours a day practice, I said, I can't play fiddle, and I just put it up, and then I went to mandolin, and that came pretty quick, at least by comparison. And some of you would say, you still need some practice. and you would not be wrong. Let's see. Mikhail Force says, greetings from Sweden. Wish you an all near dear great day. Well, thank you, Mikhail. Appreciate that. John Mason, what about a router with a plunge bit? Yeah, well, it's 2.5 inches down. And when you get a router with a long, even with that much stick out, it's pretty vibratory, if you will. And in fact, I went and looked at my routers, and I didn't have anything that would reach that deep down in. So I just gave up on that idea too. But I did think of it. Bruce Hines, let's see. All right, moving on down. Yeah, Bill Rhodes, just get shorter screws for the roof, I guess you mean? Well, I'm not going to be using screws to begin with. It'll be nails, but yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I'll be using relatively short screws, but you got to be careful. And, you don't want to use real short screws on a roof. The wind, the heat and the heat and the drying out and all that stuff causes nails to work loose. And if they're very short, they'll pull right out. So you kind of need to use something, I would say, a full inch would be your minimum you want to use. When keep in mind my planking's 3/4 of an inch. So with the thickness of the shingle, you probably wouldn't see nothing but the very, very tip of the screw of the nail. But even a full inch is a little short for me. I think 1.5 inch nail is really about as short as I want to go for putting those shingles on. Because I don't want to have to do this again. I want to do it one time, and that's why Scott suggested putting that felt paper between, above each course. Every time you lay a course of shingles, well, you lay another felt across there, and then you're really watertight. Let's see. Rud Jansen, Itchy Boots, I saw an interview in Dutch 3 weeks ago about her life and her new book. She looked healthy. There are plans. Yeah, I did see something about her book. I'm going to say a month ago. Maybe it was 3 weeks. I'm not sure. Time gets away from me. But I did see something about an interview with her book. Let's see, Simon Jardine. I find chainsaws bounce a lot trying to get a start on the cut. The end result ain't something I would want anyone to see on my carpentry. They're fine for cutting down trees, but that's it. Well, you'd be surprised. You can do some pretty fine work with chainsaws. In fact, that's a big thing in the U.S. is chainsaw carving, and lots of people carve statues and animals and all kinds of things out of with chainsaws, using almost nothing but chainsaws. Now they've kind of refined it more. Now they use all kinds of other hand tools along with that. But they started out mainly just chainsaws, and they can do some pretty darn amazing work with just a chainsaw. And honestly, I could make the cuts good enough, but it really was the chip out, the tear out that I quit using the chainsaw for right away. I mean, the first time I used it, it knocked a big chunk of wood out like that long and, quarter-inch deep across the face of the board. And, I thought, well, that ain't going to work because those teeth grab and that cedar is very brittle on the edges. But anyway, that's about all I know about that. You can do it. It ain't necessarily pretty. I guess that's about everything I've got, guys, and it looks like we're through the comments here. I know it's going to be a short one today, but if you all will come back tomorrow, I'll have something else and hopefully have some video to share with you tomorrow. I thought about getting some of that video going that I did today, but it's kind of complicated today, and I thought I better just wait and do that when I'm ready to do it, because pulling out little bits and pieces of that might just get me all mixed up here, because it's going to be quite complicated to get the videos edited for the welder and for the impact wrenches and tools. Well, we'll see you tomorrow with something else. Thank you so much for being here.